Wong has been one of the biggest surprises for the Boston Red Sox in 2024 in the best way. Can he maintain that level of success? More on today's Locked On Red Sox.
You are Locked On Red Sox, your daily Boston Red Sox podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Red Sox, your daily Boston Red Sox podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Gabby, former ESPN social media associate and current host of the Boston Balling podcast as well. And I am here to bring you the latest in all things Boston Red Sox Monday through Friday, straight to your favorite podcast feed. And want to know the best part? It's free. So you might as well check it out. You really have nothing to lose. And I promise you, it is fun. Even if the Red Sox lose, we find a way to make it fun and turn losses into positives in some capacity. So if you're looking for an upbeat show where not everything is negative all the time, this is absolutely the show for you. Locked On is your team every day. Happy Memorial Day to all of you out there. I hope you had a wonderful weekend and are enjoying what could be a day off from work for you, which would be super nice if you're able to relax and enjoy the holiday. And thinking about the fact that it's already almost June, which is absolutely crazy. Baseball season is just flying by so far with the Red Sox through the first couple months of the season, and I thought this would be a good time as we head into June and the heat of the summer to talk about the heat going on with the Red Sox roster, who is hot and who is not, biggest surprises for this team this year, and whether you're buying in or selling the players who have started off strong for Boston this year. So when it comes to players who have surprised, obviously the starting rotation as a whole has been a big surprise for the Boston Red Sox. I think nobody expected this team to perform from a starting pitching aspect in the way that they are. And if you think about the Red Sox roster breakdown heading into the season, I certainly was not finding myself sitting here saying that the starting rotation should be the least of Red Sox fans' concerns. I thought for sure that would be something that may or may not pan out depending on everything going right. And so far with this Boston Red Sox rotation, a lot of things are going right. And that starts at the top with Tanner Houck and Kutter Crawford. I mean, Tanner Houck has been absolutely lights out primarily in his starts. He's pitching deep into games. He's not allowing a lot of runs. And what's tough about it is he's really not getting the run support that he needs. So that's what's causing him to lose his starts generally, because the Red Sox offense hasn't been performing when he's pitching. But Tanner Houck to me is somebody I'm absolutely buying in on. He's a surprise to me in the fact that he's able to pitch super effectively third time through the order, because in the past there have been issues with Tanner and his ability to be able to cleanly pitch to a lineup the third time. And before the season started, I was looking at Tanner and saying he needs to be able to string together some more innings in his starts consistently, because that's going to make him a very solid pitcher. I'm not surprised about his stuff that he's bringing to the table in his level of effectiveness, because he's always had good stuff, high caliber stuff that makes him a talented pitcher. But in order to be a very good pitcher in this league, you need to be able to pitch deep into games comfortably as a starter and be able to showcase those skills on the big stages. So Tanner Houck to me has been a surprise. I'm absolutely buying into it. I expect him to continue to have very good starts as the summer months progress here and we watch this Red Sox team figure out in the heat of the summer whether they are going to be a contending team or not. And that's something that we still need to see, because it's such a long season, so many more games still to be played, and anything can really happen here in these next few months moving forward. But I'm hoping to see Tanner Houck continue to have those big starts, and I feel pretty confident that he will, especially because he already had the roots and the key pieces to be able to succeed. He just needed to add a little bit more to his pitch arsenal, which he has in fact done. So now he has the ability to really succeed, and the sky is truly the limit for him. So I'm absolutely buying into that surprise for the Boston Red Sox. Another player who's been a complete surprise this year is Kutter Crawford. He definitely showed small glimpses last year of the type of pitcher he could be for this Red Sox team, but I wasn't fully sold on him because he was inconsistent and he wasn't able to pitch as effectively in high pressure situations as I've seen from him this year so far. He's been outstanding. I mean, he had an ERA below 1 for a lot of the month of April. Really, that first few weeks of the season, he was pitching to an ERA of below 1. And even still now, his ERA is still super competitive, and he's at the point now with this team where he's really blossoming into a reliable number 2 starting pitcher for this Boston Red Sox team, right behind Tanner Houck. As of right now, I would put Houck as the number 1 and Crawford as the number 2 based on how they've been performing this year alone. And I credit Andrew Bailey a lot for this one because Kutter Crawford had good stuff in the past, but now he's bringing it to a whole new level, and he's adjusted a lot about his pitching strategy and what pitches he's utilizing when, and I think that was something that caused him problems last year, was his inability to make wise decisions in terms of what pitches he should be utilizing when. And I've been very impressed by Cutter's ability to stay consistent, because his first couple starts, people were saying, yeah, this could just be a fluke, this isn't really where he's at, we don't know actually what level of competitiveness he's going to be at for the rest of this season, but he's continued to perform in the best way possible. And if I'm a Red Sox fan, I'm very excited about that, because Kutter Crawford, being as good as he is going to be an absolute game changer for this Red Sox team moving forward. If they can start hitting consistently, this could be a serious team moving into the closer months to the playoffs. And these next couple months are really going to determine if they have that chance or not, because by no means are they considered out of the race in June. But by the end of July, if they've lost a lot of games and they're struggling, it's really hard to make up that ground in the last couple months of the season to put yourself back in a place to be able to succeed. So these next couple months of the season are going to be very important. I see April and May as the trial part of the season. Players are trying to form their identity within this team, figure out how they're going to contribute and what their place is. June and July is when you really take off and hit the ground running, and you have to win baseball games, because by then players most likely have figured out where they're at on the roster and how they should be contributing, and then it's a matter of everybody actually performing to achieve a common goal. So then you go into the last couple months of the season in August and September, and that's when you're really trying to lock in that playoff spot, convince people that you are a playoff contending team. So there are certainly 3 levels to the season. We are almost out of that first one, and Kutter Crawford pitched very well on that first level of the season. What is going to happen to him in these later months as he faces some adversity? Honestly, I'm buying into Kutter Crawford too. I think he figures something out in his pitches and in his approach that has been fixed. And although, yes, he will have bad starts here and there, every starting pitcher does, they're only human, I think this is something consistent that we can be excited about, because having Andrew Bailey at the helm and helping him out, I think he really connects with him. And Kutter is able to maintain this level of success that we've been waiting to see from him for a while. We aren't really seeing the inconsistencies as much. We're seeing a lot of confidence from him on the mound. So I have every reason to feel like, as much as he's been a surprise this year, it's been such a pleasant surprise, and we should be buying into that surprise and appreciating how good he's actually been for this team, because I think it's something he'll maintain, maybe not to the extent that he's been pitching now. He might dip down a little bit, but not too much, to the point where he will still be a very competitive starting pitcher for this rotation moving forward. So coming up, I'm going to be talking about other surprise players who have made an impact for this Boston Red Sox team in the first couple months of the season. So that's coming up next. If you're ever looking to score last-minute tickets at a great rate, I promise you, Game Time will have you covered. I've used this site personally a few times, and it's been great because I've gotten cheaper tickets to games with good seats, and I can see my view from the seat before I purchase. Have you ever been to a game and had an obstructed view because there's a pole or something in front of you? That can all be avoided if you use Game Time. Game Time will have you covered with any cancellations in an event. They'll give you the money back. You'll also guarantee that you get the lowest price. So that's really nice. Take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. They really do mean it when they say they'll guarantee you the lowest price, because I personally can vouch for that. So head to Game Time today for all of your ticket needs. Also, check out Locked On Sports today, as we as a network have launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube, and it's also available on Amazon Fire TV in the free Fire TV Channels app. So if you're looking to stay caught up in all things going on in sports, Locked On Sports today is definitely the place for you. Connor Wong has been somebody who Red Sox fans had mixed feelings on early on in the season because he hadn't shown a lot of productivity offensively in the last couple of years, and he's always had a cannon of an arm. He's thrown out tons of base stealers already this season, and defensively he's been pretty good as a catcher also. But his offense was something that I was questioning before the season started, was can he produce competitively as an offensive performer? And what has he done this year so far? Exactly that. I mean, having a batting average over 300 is definitely not something we expected from him as a catcher. And not only was it over 300, but it was 350, 360 for parts of this season already, and he's kind of fluctuated between that 350 mark and a little bit higher and a little bit lower is generally in the range that he's been at. But I'll tell you, Connor Wong has just continued to hit and make an impact offensively when it matters, and that's why for a good portion of the season I was really high on him. I was saying Connor Wong is panning out to be the catcher that the Red Sox originally traded for, the guy that they were hoping was going to pan out after that Mookie Betts trade, and they were looking to develop into a high caliber talent. My worry with Connor Wong is that he has some weaknesses in his offensive game. The first thing is that I feel like his batting average on balls in play is a little bit unsustainable, and he does have poor batted ball metrics. So I'm expecting to see some regression from him as the season progresses, because yes, he is hitting in very opportune situations, but when you put all of his offensive numbers together, it's not at the level that is as glamorous as it seems. Yes, from a batting average standpoint and a getting on base standpoint, he's impressing, but batted ball metrics measures average exit velocity and average launch angle. He's not hitting the ball as hard as we would like for him to, and my question becomes, can he improve on that or not? He does have a lot that he does bring to the table, like his sprint speed. He's in the 81 percentile in terms of his running, which is a good sign. He also provides a lot of value from a base running standpoint. He's in the 93rd percentile there, and batting run value, he's in the 85th percentile there. But hard hit percentage, he's only in the 29th percentile, and barrel percentage is 26th. So those are eye-opening to me because he's not hitting the ball super hard. So when he is making contact and getting himself on base on a hit, he's getting a lot of luck in his favor because of where the ball is landing. So I don't feel like it's really sustainable, and I do think we're going to see some regression from him in terms of his challenges that he might face with being able to get the ball in play and perform at the level that he wants to perform at. Obviously, I hope I'm wrong with this, and I hope he continues to go on this tear offensively, but to me, I'm thinking about this as an early season start for him that's been very solid, and he just got out of the gates firing. But I don't think he's going to maintain that for the rest of this season. And to me, if he can continue the defensive level that he's been at, then the Red Sox will be totally happy with that, because defense is more important for a catcher generally than offense. So if he can continue to excel behind the plate, throw guys out, and make good defensive plays and be aware, then that's a promising sign for the Red Sox moving forward. So hopefully he can continue with that. But in regards to his offense, he's just not making a lot of hard contact. And that's something that you need to be able to do more if you want to be a successful hitter at the major league level. So he's somebody I'm selling on moving forward as the season progresses. Another player that I've really enjoyed watching this season is Wilyer Abreu. Not only has he made some nice plays defensively, but he's been very good at the plate. And he was a September call-up last year, so at the time it was hard to really know how he was going to contribute, if he was going to be able to be successful at the major league level. We got such a small sample size from him, only a month left of the season when he did get his opportunity to be called up to Boston, and we saw glimpses of what he could do because he hit very well in that month plus that he was in the Boston Red Sox lineup. And to me, that was a huge impact that he was making, because he made an impression on this Red Sox team that was very good, and I don't think people expected him to be off to the races and making that big of an impact that quickly with this team. So I was excited going into the offseason to see what Abreu was going to be able to do from the standpoint of contributing offensively this season. And then going into this year, he really hasn't missed a beat. One thing that's very promising for Abreu is that he's been hitting the ball hard. He's in the 76th percentile in average exit velocity and 68th percentile in a hard hit rate. So he is making heavy, big contact, and that's something that if you have, you can maintain. If you have that raw ability to hit the ball hard, that means you're going to be able to cover a lot of different parts of the ballpark. And even if it's not a home run every time, you can still hit a deep double or maybe a single off the wall that could score another base runner from second. So he has the ability to hit the ball hard, which naturally can equate to him driving in runs more effectively. So I don't really have a reason to feel like he's going to regress significantly. Yes, he might not maintain the numbers he's maintaining now all season long, but I'm buying in on Wilyer Abreu because of the fact that I think he has the ability to really continue to hit that ball hard, drive in base runners, and be a key piece offensively. It's different from looking at somebody like Connor Wong because he has more raw ability at the plate than Connor Wong does. And I'm not saying Connor Wong will be a bad offensive player for this Red Sox team, but I do think we should expect his numbers to drop a lot over the next few months when he starts to get back into the type of hitter I actually think he is. But he'll provide value defensively, so that's okay. And with Abreu, I look at him and I say, if he can continue to provide value offensively and defensively, then there's no reason why the Red Sox should be looking to move on from him right now, because I would keep him in there and plan to use him as an everyday right fielder, because then Duran can play center every day. So I like Abreu. There's a ton that I think he has to offer, lots of upside, and just that raw talent that he has at the plate. And not only that, but he also does take his walks. He's not afraid to take ball four and get himself on base when it's necessary. He's not super swing happy, so he shows that discipline at the plate that you need if you want to be able to succeed. So I like that about him as well. So So when it comes to Abreu, I think there's lots to look forward to moving forward. If you're putting him on your buy or sell chart, definitely buy into him. I think he'll continue a good, strong level of consistency and success at the plate moving forward. He's somebody that if you're a Red Sox fan, you should look forward to watching the rest of this season, because I think it's going to be a big season moving forward for him. And if you add his defense into the mix, that's a good, well-rounded player that the Red Sox have to work with here moving forward. And coming up, who's the next player on the list to buy or sell into? Tune in to find out. Are you looking for a fun way to play daily fantasy sports? If so, PrizePicks is the perfect spot for you. PrizePicks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 3 million members. It is the easiest and most exciting way to get in on the action while you watch your favorite sports and players. You just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats and watch the winnings roll in. Get in on the playoff action and win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks as you and the world's best players take the game to a new level during basketball's postseason. PrizePicks is something for every sports fan, from baseball and basketball to League of Legends and everything in between. You can pick LeBron, Shohei Ohtani, Connor McDavid, and Jude Bellingham, all in the same entry. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. That's a first deposit match up to $100 if you use code LOCKEDONMLB. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. It's game time. It really is that easy, and they make the picks so easy to choose from. NBA playoffs are a great thing to make picks on. I mean, Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum averaging over 20 points is a pretty safe pick to make. So check that out today. Also, just your reminder to check out Locked On Sports today if you want to stay caught up in all things going on in sports, because we as a network have launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube and also on Amazon Fire TV if you go to the free Fire TV channels app. So we will keep you caught up in all things going on in sports on a 24/7 stream. We are the first network to have a stream like this, so definitely take advantage of it and check out Locked On Sports today. On today's show here, we're talking about buying or selling the Red Sox biggest surprise players from the season so far as we head into the second 2-month span of the season, because I like to break the season up into 2-month spans, the regular season at least of April and May, June and July, and August and September, and we're now heading into that June stretch. So when it comes to biggest surprises on this Red Sox team and buying or selling them, one player that's definitely very intriguing is Criswell. He originally wasn't somebody who was going to be in the Red Sox starting rotation to start the season, but then due to injuries, he got his opportunity, and with Garrett Whitlock having setbacks, he's likely going to end up being around longer than people would have thought originally. So he's been a pleasant surprise because he's been pitching very well for this Red Sox team, and he's putting up numbers that are super competitive. He has had his struggles here and there for sure, but overall he's been able to maintain a really high level of competitiveness out of the Red Sox rotation. And if I'm a fan, I'm very excited about this guy. He has a really strong pitch arsenal and lots of pitches that he's utilizing to be able to be successful out of the Red Sox rotation. And one specific thing that pops into my head about Criswell that I've been noticing has stood out is that he's able to cut down on walks and add to his strikeout rate. So he's in the 79th percentile right now for walk percentage. So he's not walking as many guys as some other starters do. He's about average in strikeout percentage right now at 56%. So I would like to see him get that up a bit. Average exit velocity, he's in the 58th percentile, so hitters aren't hitting the ball super hard off of him, but he's about average in that category too. Chase percentage, 66%, so I would love to see him increase that a little bit more, but he is getting hitters to chase some pitches, which is key to success later on. We have not seen a ton of him yet. It's still a pretty small sample size for us to really know what type of player he's going to be moving forward. But if I'm going off of his numbers he's putting up right now, he can maintain that level of success generally. Is he going to be the best starter on the team? By no means, no. But if we're looking from the standpoint of having him provide value as like a number 3 or 4 starter, that I think can happen for sure moving forward. So I'm not fully buying into Cooper Criswell, but I'm not completely selling him either. I'm definitely in the middle on this one. He's somebody who can produce and provide value, but not to the same level as a Tanner Houck or Kutter Crawford equivalent. I do see there being some rough starts in there for Criswell. But if you take the overall picture of what the player is and what he's done overall this season so far, I think it's safe to say that we can expect some more very good starts from him. So I'm more towards the buying end than the selling end, but I'm not completely buying into him right now. So don't select Cooper Criswell as a player that you completely buy into at this moment. Another player who's been a surprise, but not in the best way, is Vaughn Grissom. He's been struggling with this Red Sox team so far since coming here. Isn't able to make a lot of hard contact. He's thrown a few hits in there, but overall has not been as successful at the plate as Red Sox fans or the Red Sox organization was hoping for. Now, granted, he has been injured and didn't get a spring training because of his injury, and I do believe that that plays the biggest factor in this whole thing, because it makes a big difference when a player doesn't get the same level of training as other players that are on their team. And his injury, I think, impacted him so much to the point where he wasn't able to get back right away to the level that he wants to be at. Now, I'm not saying that isn't going to happen for him, but I am hoping it does happen soon. The Red Sox traded for him in the offseason, and the Braves spoke very highly of him. He was a highly coveted prospect over there that they didn't want to get rid of, but they really did want Chris Sale, so they saw the value in him and thought that Vaughn Grissom was a good trade-off as somebody they could give the Boston Red Sox. And he is an over 300 hitter in the minor league system, so it's not like he doesn't have the potential. He definitely has the raw talent, and he showcased that on full display in the minors. My worry, though, is just, did his injury set him back too much for right now to the point where he's not going to be able to contribute this season? And that's a big question that I'm getting. I'm waiting for a big breakout from him, hopefully further on in this season. But as of right now, I have to believe that he's going to turn things around. And when it comes to buying or selling Vaughn Grissom right now, gotta buy on him because of the fact that we know the potential of what he can do, and he does deserve a pass because of his injury. And I expect him to have a big breakout later on in the season. If he doesn't, then that's going to be very disappointing for the Red Sox in terms of the return they got in that trade. But people, I think, thought he was going to make a bigger impact early on than he actually did with this team. And then people became rattled because they don't really know how to handle it or what he actually is able to do and capable of doing. So he is definitely a well-rounded hitter. He has the ability to do a lot of different things, but Fenway takes some getting used to and being surrounded by a new team and a new environment. So you need to cut him some slack here. I'm still buying in on Vaughn Grissom. I really liked the numbers that he put up at the minor league level. Coming from the Braves, who have a very talented team, the fact that they spoke so highly of him and didn't want to part ways with him speaks volumes to the type of player that he is and that he can be. So stick to your guns with Vaughn Grissom. Keep that positivity going, because I do truly feel like he has the potential to be super successful for this team at the end of the day when it comes down to it. So I'm buying in on Grissom. I'm also buying in on the starting pitching. I think Andrew Bailey has a solution that could work in the long term for these guys and not just right now. So those are all players that I'm looking forward to. I do expect some regression from Connor Wong. I don't think he's going to be able to maintain this level of success that we've seen from him early on here in the season. But hopefully I'm wrong there, and hopefully as the next few months of the season continue, the Red Sox put themselves in a place to succeed, try to cut down on the fielding errors, have more consistent offense, and be able to produce. And Tristan Casas' return is supposed to be right around the corner, so that's something we can look forward to as this Red Sox team continues to navigate through their season. But these summer months can be tough. Lots of baseball to play, hot weather, and it's the middle of the season, so people aren't as hyped as they are in the first couple months or the last couple months when it's getting closer to playoff time. So it's just that grind of the middle of the season, and they need to grind well, and they need to pull out some wins if they want a chance to be a playoff team in these next couple months here. And it's going to be really telling what kind of conversation we're having in August about whether the Red Sox are going to be in the race or not. But it's baseball. Anything can happen. It's crazy. That's why we're all here and why we love it. So as always, keep the faith. Go Red Sox, and I will catch you on the flip side.